Hey Belleville, Mayor Michael Melham here. Just want to thank you for joining me on this very, very special occasion. I'm going to give it just a few seconds or so. This is obviously a live event, and I'm seeing that people are starting to join right about now. Everybody's getting notifications going off on their phone. We are live. We are live through the Township Facebook page. We're live through the Library Facebook page. We're even live through my Mayor's Facebook page. So I'm going to give it just a few more seconds. I don't want to talk too much about tonight's event, mostly because during the event you're going to hear me speak about why this is so important to Belleville. But just to reiterate for 1 second, this is a very special occasion. This is an historic moment for Belleville. 150 years ago today was the celebration of the first ever Chinese New Year on the Eastern Seaboard. This is the year of the ox. So collectively in a few seconds, we're all going to usher in 2021, the year of the ox. But why this is so important is because this was the first ever Chinese New Year's, long before New York City. It was right here in Belleville. And for 2 years, as mayor, I've talked about a huge celebration. We're going to do fireworks and dragons and all kinds of crazy stuff. It was something I was really, really looking forward to. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we just couldn't do that. But I did not want to miss the occasion. I feel that this is an historic moment. I feel that Belleville needs to honor this moment. And I feel that Belleville needs to celebrate. We're not afraid to talk about our history here in Belleville. Vast history. It's a really good history, something we're very proud of, something that all Belleville residents should be proud of, certainly something that our young children should also know about. So I do see we have some more people joining us. If you're not really seeing us live for the event, after the event, it'll be here on our Facebook pages and you'll be able to see it and watch it again. So I just want to take just another couple seconds. I do see people are still joining us. Again, 2021, Year of the Ox. I thank you for participating with us. I will say one thing, as of today, Friday, you can go to the Township website, and on that website you can actually register for the second event, the second portion of this Chinese New Year's. Chinese New Year is not one day, it's not one night like it is here for us. It's going to start today, Friday, February 12th, and it goes on. And on Monday the 22nd, the Township will commemorate the 150th year with launching 150 lanterns into the nighttime sky. So we do need volunteers for that because we have to socially distance. We can only keep 150 volunteers or participants at our stadium complex at one time. Outdoor gathering capacity is 150, so it's perfect. So we're going to ask you to please register, you and or your family, on our Township website. You must pre-register. You cannot show up to the stadium on Monday the 22nd and launch a lantern off. We have the lanterns, we will provide them to you, but please go to our Township website and register yourself and your family. First come, first serve, or first registration, first serve, whatever that really means. I see we got more people joined us, so I think we're just about ready. Again, special day, Township of Belleville. You should all be very happy. 150 years ago today was the first ever Chinese New Year celebrated on the Eastern Seaboard. Something we're all proud of, so I need you all to help me welcome in 2021, the Year of the Ox. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Good evening, Belleville. Tonight we're about to begin our historic Chinese New Year celebration. This particular celebration is something I've spoken about for more than 2 years since taking office. As you probably already know, Belleville is a very unique place with an impressive history, something all modern residents should be proud of. And when we talk Belleville history, the Dutch Reformed Church is typically at the center of the conversation. Speaking of Belleville's vast history and the Dutch Reformed Church, not only did the inhabitants of what would become Belleville not align with the Crown during the Revolutionary War, but we were a hotbed for colonial revolutionists. So much so, as George Washington retreated through Belleville, more than likely he camped here and mourned at the Dutch Reformed Cemetery. Next, roughly during the time of the Civil War, Belleville was instrumental in harboring slaves and assisting in their transportation through the Underground Railroad system. Escaped slaves found safe haven in the Dutch Reformed Church before making the nighttime journey across the Passaic River toward New York City. Years later, in 1870, after their tireless efforts in assisting with the completion of the Transatlantic Railroad
and at a time when national anti-Chinese sentiment was at an all-time high, Belleville welcomed many Chinese immigrants, making Belleville, New Jersey, the very first Chinese community on the East Coast of the United States. Amid the severe discrimination with local, state, and eventually federal laws against the Chinese immigrants found a welcoming home in Belleville, a testament to Belleville's historic nature of acceptance and inclusion. As a matter of fact, Dr. Beth Lou Williams, an assistant professor of history at Princeton University, specializing in Asian American history, has been quoted as saying, "The Chinese treatment in Belleville was exceptional for the 19th century America." She pointed out, the events in Belleville provided a significant counterexample to the growing anti-Chinese movement in the United States during the late 19th century. She continued, "It was a daily reality for 19th century Americans that newspapers, politicians, and neighbors would bombard Americans with anti-Chinese rhetoric. But somehow, the people of Belleville did not succumb to the pressure of national xenophobia." Dr. Williams concluded, the unique development in Belleville was both striking and encouraging. Even during a time of widespread racism, a small community was able to look beyond preconceived prejudices and open their town to outsiders. Eventually, the first school for Chinese immigrants was opened in Belleville, and Belleville was home to the only Chinese place of worship in this part of the country. As a matter of fact, many Chinese workers were buried under the Dutch Reformed Church, which is why in 2016, our Historical Society, led by historian Michael Perrone, built a monument to them, which is located in this cemetery. Speaking of those Chinese immigrants interned at the Dutch Reformed Church, Mr. Perrone has pointed out that on September 20th, 1870, a total of 68 Chinese men and boys from San Francisco arrived in Belleville to work for Passaic Steam Launcher Shop. 8 weeks after the group arrived, one of them died at the age of 28. His funeral service was officiated by then Pastor Reverend J.P. Daly. There were over 200 Belleville townspeople who joined the 67 remaining Chinese at the service, offering prayers and singing hymns. The New York Times even reported on the funeral. At that time, Chinese residents comprised nearly 10% of the population, making Belleville the first Chinatown on the East Coast, meaning the first Chinese residents of New York City more than likely came from Belleville, New Jersey. A few months later, in January 1871, and at a time when New York City had laws prohibiting such celebrations, the first Chinese New Year's on the East Coast was celebrated right here in Belleville, New Jersey. This is precisely why every January the township raises the Qin Dynasty flag in honor of Chinese Memorial Day. The three-sided Emperor's Dragon banner flew in Belleville from 1870 to 1887. It's because of these deep roots with the Chinese community that the Chinese American community often invites me, as mayor, to participate in their various celebrations throughout the state. It's something I feel I have a duty to participate in, a tradition I hope all future mayors will continue. Which brings us to tonight, as we, a township rich in community and culture, with the year 1871 in mind, celebrate the beginning of Chinese New Year 2021, exactly 150 years from the day of the first ever Chinese New Year celebrated on the Eastern Seaboard. This is a milestone worthy of celebration. To that end, as mayor of this great township, steeped in history and tradition, I hereby formally welcome 2021 as the Year of the Ox. In Chinese culture, the ox is a valued animal because of its role in agriculture and positive characteristics, such as being hardworking and honest. Oxen are low-key and never look for praise or to be the center of attention. This often hides their talent, but they gain recognition through their hard work. They believe that everyone should do what's asked of them and stay within their bounds. They are kind, but it's difficult for them to understand persuasion. Rarely losing their temper, they think logically and make great leaders. As I conclude, I just want to formally thank several members of the Chinese community, some of you which you'll be hearing from later on today. Lastly, as Chinese New Year draws to an end on Monday, February 22nd, and in honor of this 150th year anniversary, 150 Chinese lanterns will be released into the night sky from the Belleville Municipal Stadium complex. More on that event to come. As mayor of this fine township, I thank you and wish you the great Year of the Ox.
Dear friends, it's my great pleasure to celebrate with you the Chinese Lunar New Year. In 1870, early Chinese immigrants came to Belleville with courage, diligence, and the dream of a better life, and celebrated the Chinese New Year for the first time on the East Coast. Over the past 150 years, the Chinese community has gradually integrated into Belleville and made great contributions to the prosperity of the town. Looking ahead, with joint efforts of the people of Belleville, I believe you will have an even better future. As the year of the ox is approaching, I wish the people of America's cherry blossom capital a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. May the China-U.S. friendship never ever ends. 祝大家牛年快乐!
Hello, this is Margaret Lam. On behalf of the United Chinese American Association of New Jersey, I wish everybody a happy, healthy, and prosperous year of 2021, Year of the Ox. 恭喜大家新年快乐!